I just wanted to show a few items for sound, the sound panel, and basically really two. And I think you can play with these. This is very down and dirty, admittedly, but it can make a huge difference, especially to a non-sound sweetened track, piece edit. And so what I'm going to show is related to the sound panel, and then there's one overall big filter that you can employ and work with. Let me just show that I have this big edit. This is from the Ovens of Capricorn, and there's three tracks here. There's the A roll, the interviewee, and various interviewees and their responses, and then you have nat sound and special effects, and then on the bottom are sound effects, and then on the bottom you have the music. And so these three need to be balanced. And you might or might not see, or might not hear. Apologize. I don't know if I can do it very easily with the way that I'm recording this on QuickTime. I can try to just play it out and see if we hear that. So you always want to make sure that your A roll is what you hear, that is clear and powerful. And we'll look in some strategies at that. You want to make sure that your sound effects are having their intended, that that sound is being heard. It's having its intended purpose, but it is also not overpowering. And where you need to probably go down the most is the music, and just bring it up in places like right here where you have this, well, you have somebody speaking here, but where you have gaps, people are speaking. So within this time here, the music should come up. And it's music driven and all that. You can see right now there are no keyframes here. Over here, they have a one that has keyframes. I'm going to stay here because I'm going to use this. First, I'm going to designate what each track does, or what each track is. So I'm going to go and hit minus and just say this whole track right here is going to be dialogue. So in the essential sound panel, I made this to be dialogue. Some of the cool things that you can do within the dialogue panel are, if you go ahead and let me just finish this, select like some of these tracks. If one were to be quieter than the other, you could select them all and you say loudness auto match, and these were all now auto matched at a loudness of 23 minus 23 lufs. And you can also do it one by one, and things like that. So if you have one clip that's quieter, you could auto match that to another clip. See these, let me hold shift and get these two and auto match these two. All right, these were now auto matched, etc. So that means that they have the same um, volume, they have the same loudness in the track, so and so that you don't have the interview really quiet and really loud at some point. So with this, I can also influence all the selected clips, at once, or specific ones, and I can bring up, for example, I can increase the clarity, or do a repair on single ones. So you click on these and open it up and to do a repair. Um, the thing I would have people look at, and this is what like I said in the meeting, is look at the presets that come like a subtle boost, male or female, or you definitely not locked in a trunk, but vocal presence, one of those could be really good. And if you need to bring up the clip level, you can do it. You can do it here. This will bring up the clip level for all of these guys, and etc. So that is for the dialogue. If I go and grab music and say this is music, I have some other dynamics. One thing you can try is turn on auto ducking, And right now it's set to automatically auto duck against dialogue. So where we have dialogue, for example, right here, the music should go from this loudness to a quieter level. Let's see. Okay, didn't seem to be reacting. Let's see. Sensitivity is 6 dB. See if I can ratchet that up a little bit if it makes a difference. Maybe it has to be louder at the beginning. Hmm, I see what it is. I still have to hit generate keyframes. So let's try this again. All right. So now we have some keyframes here. So right here, for example. All right, and we have some music going up, and then here's some loud music, so to speak, and then it goes under, and does that pretty well. So if I zoom in here, you can kind of see here's the keyframes. Now this was too quiet for me after this, so I would just go and push this up a little bit, not that far, but something like that. And so that I have a louder intro and maybe even push this a little bit. All right, so that's the a quick take on Essential Sound Panel. I want to show one last thing here, which is adding a filter to the aggregate outcome, the whole master. And so for that, I'm going to go to the track mixer. You can also find this in Window Track Mixer, Audio Track Mixer. And right now, you choose which timeline to be on, which sequence to be on. This is the one I want. And you can see that there's these three tracks, and actually a fourth one, one, two, three, four. They're all here, and then this last one is the master track. And so that's where I want to put this limiter on, limiter compressor. And so I opened up this little triangle, super sneaky in the corner triangle, and then I can put a on this slot. I can put an amplitude and compression filter or effect. I'm going to use dynamics, and I'm going to put dynamics. I'm going to adjust dynamics. So first you add it on there, and then you go to the word dynamics and double click. That opens the actual filter. I'm going to turn on a limiter, and I'm going to turn on a compressor. I want my limiter to limit the max loudness to be minus 12. I don't have I think on the hard limiter I have a minus 12 kind of setting, but let's see what happens when I just play it back now. So it's not limiting at all. Now it's limiting a lot. Okay, so here right now I have. So I have my threshold, my max that I want to see in my timeline at minus 12. And I have a compressor turned on as well that will basically bring together. I don't have an expander yet. Actually, I want to turn that on as well so that I'm boosting sounds that are really quiet. So with these three turned on, any sound that's quieter than that's from minus 20 will get boosted, and we'll see if it works or if it's too much. I'll just test this. All right, there's a little bit working up here. So All right, so I hope that helps. So when you open up that this here in the tracks and turn on dynamics, you can set up this filter to basically squash any sound that's louder than -12. You do that here. I left this threshold of -20 on the expander to boost any sounds that are too low, and I turned on the compressor. And there's, I'm sure, a little bit more finite aspects to dial in on ratio and threshold, but I left it here at close to what it was. At the beginning, it was -20, and I left the ratio, and I've added a little bit of gain to at the very end to give it if it loses some sound volume. Those two things together, the essential sound panel and the filter here at the very end, are all I'm requiring, and you might well use other tips and tricks, but for now, that will be the down and dirty approach.